This all happened one hot summer night in a nasty place called Fort Sill. We had just got finished road marching all day, and earlier spent the morning on Potato Hill, practicing more land navigation principles, and, as our drill sergeants put it, learning how not to look like a first lieutenant. After marching to another location, darkness slowly setting in on the desert, we were split into groups and given a map and coordinates. The coordinates were checkpoints to various things we had to find throughout this event, having to find things like coffee cans, T-posts, etc. I, being the oldest and highest ranking, I was in charge of my little group of 6 men. The darkness fully set in when we were finally released, and we were sent into the desert with angle lights and a map. Our only other light source was the bright full moon in a cloudless night. Now, I don't know if any of you have actually seen a desert night like that, but it can actually be pretty illuminated. Anyway, the night went smoothly until we started having trouble finding our second to last checkpoint, I believe it was. Frustrated, I told the group to stay put and pull security, while me and another soldier, I'll call him M, set out to see what we missed. We got about 100 meters away from our group. We were just quietly talking about the night and where the heck that dang point could be, when suddenly we stopped in our tracks, as if we both hit a wall, eyes fixed at an object about 15 meters in front of us. I recall M saying under his breath to me, "What the hell is that?" Having a dull gray hue to it, and humanoid in shape and appearance, but with no distinct features. This object was just standing there in the open, appearing to be facing our direction and staring at us. This went on for about a minute, when suddenly it darted from our right to left, covering ground very quickly. When suddenly it stopped, turned back towards us, and stared at us for a moment, and then darted off into the darkness. Our heads snapped toward each other in an instant, and we both asked at the same time if the other had just saw that. We confirmed, and we quickly walked back to regroup with the rest of the element. We couldn't explain the figure, nor the speed in which it moved. After basic training, we even attended artillery school together, never seeing the object again. Both of us out of the service now, M and I still talk, and, without fail, that particular night comes up, still without an explanation. One thing that I know for sure anyway, is that personally, I will never forget that one summer night in the desert. I still think one of the weirdest stories I've ever heard was one a friend relayed to me back when he worked in the weapons storage area on Nellis Air Force Base. He said him and his patrol leader were driving the perimeter of the WSA when they decided to veer off on the trail and look for a place to hang out and kick back for a bit. As they were driving down the trail, they saw what appeared to be a little boy, about 8 or 9 years old, in 1950s style clothing, on an old style bike. He was just out riding in front of them across the trail. They stopped and jumped out of the Humvee and went to challenge the kid, and when they did this, he had completely disappeared. He wasn't even there anymore. There weren't even tracks in the sand from the bike. My friend decided it was best to keep on the move and decided not to stray from the perimeter for the rest of the night. They didn't report the incident because they knew no one would believe them anyway. My friend's patrol leader, however, asked to never be posted on an external patrol ever again. It had freaked him out that badly. I was in Afghanistan in 2005 with the 82nd, 2nd of the 505. It's February, and we were on a mission out in the middle of the desert, doing our normal patrols looking for the bad guys. So, we stopped for the evening and pulled maybe 50 yards up the ridge to the high ground to watch the rest of the valley we were in. We figured, hey, looks good. Big rocks to shoot from, hard to get to, good CNC. Why not, right? Well, we got up to the top at about maybe 16:30 local, right before we pulled into our patrol base. It was maybe 80 to 90 degrees out with no wind. When we got to the top of the hill, it was only about 20 or 30-ish, and you could see your breath. And it felt hostile, like a crowded room full of zombies that wanted to turn you into dinner. And needless to say, we bugged out and found another place. The local says that it was their graveyard and they never went up there because of the same reason. I thought it was pretty creepy. Sometime in the late 1930s, my father was a first lieutenant with the 1st Battalion, 122nd Field Artillery of the Illinois 33rd Infantry Division, known then as Div Arty. In 1938 through 1939, before the war, units of the Army would travel the country by truck, sometimes just camping along the way wherever they ended up for the night. One evening in particular, they camped near the Shiloh battlefield en route to Mississippi. Late that evening, a soldier, all dressed in ragtag Union Civil War uniform, approached the campfire and asked anyone if they had tobacco. Someone gave him some. As the soldier began to roll a cigarette, someone asked where he was from. He pointed to the west and stated, "From the river." When those around the camp looked at each other and looked to the west, then looked back, the soldier had vanished. My father stated no one slept that night.